Hi, welcome to episode 168 of A Couple of Things, your favorite daily podcast, a podcast about things. Today, I'm going to be talking about surviving, thriving as the first or the only UX person on a team. For the better part of my UX career, which is almost 8 years this year now, I have been the first and the only researcher. And I have learned some tips across the way of how to set yourself up for success and even how to advance professionally yourself without much mentorship or training within your organization. So I'm not going to be talking about like the core technicalities of like doing research necessarily. Just talking about how to survive and then thrive as a UX research team of one. I'm mostly going to talk about UX research, but I assume that some of what I say might be useful to any other kind of UX person who is the only UX person on their team. So the first thing is to, again, assess the landscape. What is currently going on? What are people doing? What kind of research already exists? And so on and so forth. Who are the people who are talking to users? What kind of things are they doing? Who does UX type work, basically? Find out who that is or who those people are, what they know, what they found out, what kind of processes that they may have, even though it may not be like properly documented or like the quote unquote standard UX process. Hi, thanks for listening so far. Just to pop in to say, please send me questions. I'm running out of things to talk about, so send me questions or suggestions. The link to do that is in the description box of the episode. Also, subscribe. Thanks. Okay, let's get back into the episode. This is important because these are the people who will kind of be your first point of contact for research. But I don't want to talk about because I think I already talked about being the first researcher, managing research projects and blah, blah, blah. What I want to talk about is more on the professional development side, how to continue to be, to experience professional development, even though you don't have a research manager or UX manager or somebody who is like, your manager is probably like a head of product or head of engineering or something like that. So how can you find what you need? And again, having gone through my whole career as the first and the only UX researcher, this is how I have continued to grow professionally, without a lot of direct UX research mentorship in-house. Right. And when I started doing research, I was like one of the maybe 2 or 3 UX researchers in Nigeria. And so there were not a lot of people to even find help from within the country anyways. So how did I do this? One, Slack groups. There are so many now. There are even way more than when I started, like hundreds, maybe not hundreds, but like tens of Slack groups. My favorite is still the designer hangout Slack group, and I've been there for pretty much since I became a UX person, so like almost 8 years now. I also like there are newer ones. I'm trying to think of a new one. The Delta CX Slack community I also like. Rosenfield, it's not so new, but yeah, like UX Slack groups. Now people are moving on to Discord. They're everywhere, Facebook, Discord, but basically online communities where you can ask questions on how to approach a problem. You can share your thoughts, ask for feedback, get help, get resources, things that you need to advance your skills, to get help, to brainstorm with people, and so on and so forth. Then another place is Google. Google is your friend still, even though we have Perplexity and ChatGPT and Gemini and so on. Just doing a search online for what you want to do, what kind of problem that you're facing or challenge or situation or whatever, It's very, very helpful because even though like ChatGPT and the like are, I'm very cautious to recommend, especially for people who are really early in their career, to ask to use these tools for like getting advice, because you can't really filter it because you don't really know yet. But balance those tools with asking people, see above points of communities or previous points of communities, and then also Google, find actual articles, which is where Perplexity helps because it links you to the actual article sources where it's combining its answers from, so you can go to those sources and also find help. But another good community is the Jared Spool's community. I don't remember what Leaders of Awesomeness, I think is what it's called, and it's on Mighty Network. So yeah, like the platform doesn't matter, just online community, and then two, also using like AI search tools, Google search, combining with that. Then three, newsletters, blogs. I subscribe to a bunch of them. And many of the old ones, they've actually kind of been disappearing. I don't know why. Well, maybe I know why. Media is not a very easy business, but there are a lot of UX blogs and newsletters. Some are on Medium, like the UX Collective, Bootcamp, also by the UX Collective. There is User Weekly, which is a newsletter more focused on user research stuff. And there are lots of podcasts as well. So basically resources. So podcasts, newsletters, YouTube pages, blogs, and the like are resources where you can get help. Then I also really like the Reops community. They publish a lot of useful resources as well. And then the fourth thing you can do is to discuss with your manager. So if your manager is a great manager, they will realize and understand that you're not necessarily getting the exact kind of mentorship that you need to grow as a researcher or as a UXer, because they are not a UXer or a researcher. And so they will be able to provide you with the resources, like give you access to training, identify training that you would like to do to improve a particular skill or learn a new skill or a new method, and then find ways to apply those skills in your work. Like, for example, I really wanted to get into like quantitative stuff, starting with just product analytic tools like Mixpanel, Hotjar, and the like. And so that's something I was looking out for when I was switching jobs at some point, like a company that already has those tools. Maybe they're not really using it, or they don't know how to use it, or it's just there, or maybe they already are actually using it. But I was looking out for that, and so when I joined those companies, I started like doing courses on how to use Mixpanel, how to use Hotjar. Some of them were free, most of them were actually free, and then applying that to my work. So that's how I also develop myself. Another thing is to self-reflect. So you finish a research project, you have to reflect on it, review what could I have done better, what methods should I have used, what other methods could I have used. And if you have a mentor, you can use platforms like ADP List or whatever, or people that you can ask questions. You can brainstorm with them and say, oh, this is the challenge that I had, and this is the approach that I used, and what could I have done better. And if you have recorded sessions, you can watch back those sessions and see, oh, I made a mistake here, I should not have asked this question this way, and take those kinds of notes for yourselves. Those kinds of things you can't share with other people because privacy, NDA, all of those kinds of things. But wherever you can, get feedback about your work and also reflect on your work. That's something that I also did that really helped me develop my career and myself, actually my own professional development. So to wrap it up, groups, communities, whether online or offline, meetups, in-person meetups, Slack communities, WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, Discord, wherever they are, it doesn't matter. Just have communities where there are other professional UX people who you can seek advice from, get mentorship from, share whatever challenge, problem that you have, and then they can give you feedback, insights, ideas on how to do it. Oh, another one I like that you mentioned is content plus UX. Then also search on Google or with the AI tools. Be careful with the AI tools, because if you're not yet like very knowledgeable, you may be led astray. And then newsletters, podcasts, and the like, and then discuss with your manager to access training that you can use and apply at work. And also self-reflection, getting feedback about your reflecting on the work that you've done, and getting feedback about your interviews, those kinds of things. Also very helpful. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.